8 acts, 4 duels, 4 new finalists. It is Andra Chansen at Melodifestivalen 2016. Duel number 1 is between Pettersson Hammar and Panetoz. You guys, these two songs could not be more different. Panetoz is bringing us tropical sun. Pettersson Hammar is going all soulful and sexy. Where will the victory lie? According to our readers in our poll, it lies with Pettersson Hammar, who has 67% of all votes. But I have a feeling this does not reflect reality. My vote is going to Panetoz. It's just much more interesting. Her song, we saw it last year. It didn't make the final then, and I don't think it's making the final now. Padraig.
Yeah, personally, I'm not too pushed about either song. Molly, it's a retread of last year. Panetoz, possibly a retread of the 2014 entry, except slightly better, so I'd lean towards them. I've taken a look at the YouTube views, and it's not looking good for poor Molly. She's been up since week 2. She has 87,000 views. Panetoz went up less than a week ago, last Saturday. They've 150,000 views. It's pretty damning.
Yeah, I have to agree. Pettersson Hammar has no chance against Panetoz. She doesn't have the fan base what Panetoz does, and she doesn't have the fun. And also in the odds, it looks clearly that Panetoz is winning against Molly. And so it's bye-bye for Molly and welcome Panetoz to the final as the first Swedish song in the final.
And Sami, what are those odds specifically?
It's saying that Panetoz is, this is decimal, so it's under 2, while Pettersson Hammar is 3.40, so it's like really clear that Panetoz is winning.
And I think Molly's a lovely girl, lovely woman, great voice, and the reason she's probably doing so well on our site is that we had a lot of interviews with her and her personality really showed through, so people on our site have affection for her, but when you take a step back and listen to the music, I'm sorry, Panetoz slays the pack. Well, this pack of 2 acts. Duel number 2, it is Boris René versus Albin and Mattias. For me, there's a clear winner. It is Boris René. His song is catchy, he is charismatic, his song is memorable, he is fun. Albin and Mattias, the song does nothing for me. I don't like Swedish rap. I'm sorry if I'm offending people who do. I think that Mattias is fantastic, very charismatic. Albin pulls him down, makes the melody is very forgettable. I like Mattias's part, but whenever Albin sings, I want to press mute. Our readers seem to agree. In our fan poll for this duel, Boris René has a clear lead, 70% of the vote, well, 69, compared to 30%, 31% for Albin and Mattias. Padraig.
My vote would be with Boris as well. His song is just that much bit more fun. It's because basically Albin Mattias is a retreading of every kind of generic rap song that we've heard at Melodifestivalen over the years. But the thing about the two of them is they have the name. They've had big hits in Sweden, and that's reflected in the YouTube views. Their YouTube views stands at 319,000, whereas Boris is only 121. But I don't know how accurate it is. Could you say that the two of them have doubled the fan base because there's 2 artists collaborating? I don't know. Because he is quite well known. He's a well-known footballer. But yeah, looking at YouTube, you would go with Albin and Mattias.
I actually like both of songs, but I like Boris better. But in the odds, it's really close call between them two. Like you said, Albin and Mattias have bigger fan base. They have the image. While Boris is just like you said, he's just a footballer coming to the stage for the first time. He's fun. Albin and Mattias are maybe more for adults than teenagers. But it will be really close call. But if I would decide, it would be for Boris.
This is definitely the closest heat in my mind. Sami, as you point out, it's a dead heat really with the bookies. They have Albin and Mattias at 1.8 and Boris René at 1.9. There's nothing in it. I think perhaps they're giving the edge to Albin and Mattias because they are established musical acts and Melodifestivalen is a musical show. But maybe football fans, knowing Boris is competing again, will turn out on Saturday evening to vote. Who knows? Duel number 3, it is Isa versus SaRaha. This is one of the more interesting matchups to me. I think SaRaha is riding a wave of momentum. People are like, who is this white chick serving African realness? They love the summer vibe, I know that I do. And then you've got Isa, who was the breakout star last year, who's come back and been slightly underwhelming to many. She has a huge fan base, but people may want to give the newbie a chance. If you look at the poll on wiwibloggs, that is not the case. It is very one-sided. Isa has 78% of the vote compared to 22% for SaRaha. It's very lopsided. Personally, I would give I would send SaRaha through. I would leave Isa and Andra Chansen. I think she's got a beautiful song, but the staging to me, like, yes, it's dramatic and powerful, but I can't help but think that's just a big sheep in the background. It's like trying very hard to be arty, and I'm like, it's a sheep. That is a sheep. Whereas with SaRaha, very simple, bright lights, colorful outfits. She brings the life through her body movements, through her dancing, through her voice. I just find it a more interesting performance.
It's such an interesting contrast because on one hand we have the really dark, very expensive ballad with the Melfest veteran. Then on the other hand, we have very cheap staging, really light and frivolous song by a newcomer. And personally, I'm not that gone on either of the songs. If one went home or one stayed, I wouldn't be weeping for either. But looking at YouTube, the YouTube viewers seem to be definitely on SaRaha's side, even though Isa has a week's head start. She was from week 2. But yeah, Isa has 234,000, which compared to some of the acts is quite high, but SaRaha is trashing her. She has 341,000. So like over 100,000 more views. So it's looking like SaRaha and I think that would be the shock of the year probably.
Yeah, it's weird because Isa was leading the odds after the second semi-final, and then she went to the Andra Chansen, and now she's even losing there because also the odds are saying that SaRaha is going to the final. It's close call, and also in my opinion, I wouldn't mind either of them getting to the final. I think Isa is maybe a little too perfect for Sweden, while SaRaha is fun, and also it shows on the Spotify place that SaRaha is still in the Swedish people's minds, while Isa is just like, maybe they already forgot her. I think in this case it's on the app votes between Isa and SaRaha, because I think on the app votes people will be voting for Isa more. So I think even the YouTube views and the odds saying that SaRaha is going through, I think it will be Isa in the end.
Duel number 4, it is Samir and Viktor versus Dolly Style. Maybe they're playing matchmaker and these pairs will couple up after the show, who knows. I gotta say, I was slightly underwhelmed by both of these after their breakout performances last year. I think both of them brought stronger songs last year. And I think in the case of Dolly Style, they brought a stronger group last year, having replaced 2 of the members. In any event, this is going to be interesting. According to our readers, Samir and Viktor have the edge. They have 59% of the vote compared to 42%, 41% from Dolly Style. Personally, I give the edge for staging to Dolly Style. I think they work with the LED screens really well. That scene with the ride and the roller coaster, the beautiful bright colors that work with their look. Whereas Samir and Viktor, it looks really cheap. It's all blue, there's some water, there's a puddle in the audience, there's a crazy lady spinning around. I remember nothing. Yeah, they take off their shirts and they show us their abs, but even that is slightly underwhelming. They could be a bit more sensual and sexual and show us a bit more peck. In any event, yeah, I think that Samir and Viktor will go through. I think Dolly Style's song is just a tad underwhelming, and not even amazing staging can save it.
I think this is probably the most calculating and devious pairing in the final 2, because they are by far the 2 most popular acts. If you look at YouTube, Dolly Style, they've only been up for a week, and they have 280,000 views, and that beats everyone we've mentioned so far, apart from Albin and Mattias. And then Samir and Viktor, well, they're 2.1 million, which absolutely makes a joke of the rest of them. So, like, they're obviously winning. But Dolly Style, looking at views, and they've been up for a week, they're the 3rd most popular act. So wow. Doesn't seem quite fair in my mind that they're up against Samir and Viktor, because whoever went against Samir and Viktor with the app voting, they're never going to win. And Dolly Style and Samir and Viktor, they're kind of going roughly for the same age group. Like, I can imagine them dividing families, that the 10-year-old sister would be like all Dolly Style, and then her 13, 14-year-old sister would be Samir and Viktor. But yeah, it's definitely, I think Christian Bjorkman likes having the novelty. It gets a bit of attention. but he does not want two novelty acts in his final.
Yeah, it's quite clear that Samir Viktor would win over anyone in the Andra Chansen. They have topped the Swedish charts, they topped the Spotify. Bada nakna is the biggest hit out of the next to all the finalists. It's no way that Samir Viktor wouldn't get through the final from this. Also in the odds it shows that Dolly Style doesn't have a chance against them, and I'm really happy about it. Samir Viktor are much better than Dolly Style. It was surprising that they didn't make the final from the first heat, but it was because Robbie Bengtsson came out of nowhere and took the final place from them. But it's really clear that Samir Viktor will win this heat. They will do very well in the final, in the televote, not with the internal juries, and they are one of the biggest names in the Melodifestivalen this year.
And the bookies bear that out. Dolly Style at 4.4, Samir and Viktor at 1.17. I mean, that is lopsided. So just to recap, let's go through the 4 heats and name who we want to go through. Not who we think will go through, but who we want to go through. Duel 1, Panetoz versus Molly. I'm putting my weight behind Panetoz.
I'm backing Panetoz from my personal point of view.
Yeah, so am I. Panetoz is much more interesting and much more fun than Molly.
Duel number 2, Albin and Mattias versus Boris René. I'm shouting Boris René.
Yeah, my heart says Boris too.
Yeah, even I like both the songs, I like Boris more than Albin and Mattias.
Oh my god, we actually agree. Duel number 3, Issa versus SaRaha. I want SaRaha.
I don't care for either of them, so for the sake of being different, I'll say Issa.
Next to Panetoz, we don't really have any fun songs in the final, but I think SaRaha would bring the fun to the final, so I want SaRaha through.
And finally, Dolly Style versus Samir and Viktor. Ooh, I don't actually know who I want. I know who I want. I don't know who I want. You know what? They're good fun. I'm going Samir and Viktor.
I want my dollies.
It's by far the easiest choice for me. It's Samir Viktor over Dolly Style.
Well, that's what we think. What do you think? Who are your favorites to win Andra Chansen? Let us know here on wiwibloggs.
And make sure to give us a big thumbs up.
And also subscribe while you're at it.
Yay! See you later.
Bye.